Driving under the influence of alcohol is by far the most common crime there is. This is across all 77 counties and all jurisdictions. If that's the most common crime, what does that tell you? That tells you that everyday people tend to get caught up in it.
And the reality is, most of us have been in a situation where we've had a couple beers and we felt like we were okay to drive in the moment, and then we realized that it was probably a bad decision.
Now they're being faced with this really severe consequence of a really minor action. As an attorney, there are going to be certain things that you're going to really excel at, and it's important to know where your strengths and weaknesses lie. Without the experience of having handled DUIs previously, without knowing the statutory requirements for a DUI, I just think it would be a poor decision for an attorney to take on a case when they don't know how a DUI really works.
Everything that happens inside of a courtroom, it all goes back to whether somebody knows what they're doing. The way the criminal justice system works is there's procedures in place, and the government has to follow these procedures. And so if you decide to hire someone who has kind of a general practice, you're gonna get kind of a general outcome.
There's several avenues that we look into for what I would call technicalities, because a lot of this is procedural in nature. At the beginning of a case is the reason why the police officer stopped the individual. And if it's not a good reason, then everything else from the case stops from there. It doesn't matter how intoxicated the person is, it all stops.
An officer can't just start forcing you to take tests. They need something to pull you over for that traffic stop.
What did the officer do with the person? Did they automatically go into arrest mode and say, you know, it's 2 a.m., I smell the odor of alcohol, you must be drunk? You know, when you're a hammer, everything's a nail.
If there is not a problem with the stop, what we're looking for is to make sure that their indicia or evidence of intoxication is correct.
Did you take the standardized field sobriety test? If so, did you fail those tests? What were the clues? Then did you take the state's test? That'll be either the breathalyzer or blood test. And if you did take that test, what was your blood alcohol content from there?
Being hyper-focused allows us to put all of our eggs in those small baskets so that we know every nuance of every law as it pertains to DUI cases. Between being a prosecutor and a defense attorney, I've probably handled over 10,000 DUI cases. I've seen the highest BAC that you would think that the person would be deceased, to the police officer fabricating facts, making a DUI arrest.
We all have experience as being former prosecutors, so we all know what the prosecution is thinking. Being able to help them move on with their life and not experience lifelong consequences is really important.